Hi, welcome to IIT Mentor Stories. My name is Vasudha Badri Paul, and today I'm in conversation with Varun Kohli. Varun, can you introduce yourself as a mentor? Tell us a little bit about yourself, which IIT you're from.
On the personal front, here is the most important startup that I'm closely associated with. That's my 5.5-year-old daughter, Varun Kohli. On the professional front, I've been at a few startups. I studied computer science at Guwahati, IIT Guwahati. Came here for masters, again computer science. My wife makes fun of me that I learned how to write code for 6 years, wrote it for 1 year, and switched to marketing. I studied marketing at Berkeley. The first startup I was associated with was Ironport, email security company, got acquired by Cisco for $830 million. Then I went to Cipher Trust, another security company, email security, that was acquired for $275 million. By Secure Computing, Secure got acquired by McAfee. I left McAfee to join ArcSight. ArcSight got acquired by HP. HP got acquired by Micro Focus. I did one more startup, which is still privately held, valued at around 100 mil plus. And the last one I did, which is close to heart right here, SkyCure, which we sold to Symantec 2 years ago. And then Symantec got acquired by Broadcom as well. So in short, I think I've been at around 10 companies, 8 of them have been acquired.
Varun, can you tell us what prompted your startup journey? Why did you join a startup versus going the corporate route?
If you ask me how did I get introduced into the startup world, I'll be lying if I say it was all calculated and planned. I was interviewing with Google. I was in Southern California and Google said, why don't you fly down here? We'll have 2 rounds of interviews, pay for your food, we'll pay for your hotel. I said, great. If I'm getting a couple of days paid vacation, I'll stop by and do the interviews. I reached out to another startup that I was actually already in contact with, and I told them Google is anyways flying me in. I'm supposed to go to Google on a Wednesday. I can stop by your office on a Tuesday. And they welcomed that opportunity. It was a startup, and startups are always trying to save every dime that they can. So I showed up at that startup on a Tuesday and went through I think 6 or 7 rounds of interviews. And on Wednesday, when I was about to go to Google, I got a call from them and said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Google for the interview. And they said, why do you have to go? Don't go to Google. Why don't you join us? So that is how I got introduced into the startup world. So if I say it was a planned move, I'll be lying to you.
I've heard the term founder's mindset. In your opinion, is that a myth? Or is there something called the founder's mindset?
I think a few things. One is solving a real problem. It should not be just something that they thought of and no one is willing to buy and they're trying to solve that problem. It should be real. Number 2 is it should make a dent in the universe. It should not be something that is immaterial, and if the startup is given to someone and then taken away 30 days after, there's no impact on that person's life. If that's the case, then it's not making a dent in the universe. So I think that's second thing. And third is constantly solving. I think all the entrepreneurs, the kick that they get is when they're trying to solve a hard problem, and when they get that problem solved, the kick is something that gets the entrepreneurs going. I think those are some of the aspects of what gets us going.
Regarding society, do you think most startups add value to society?
I'm not sure I would say that. I think there are 2 types of startups. One, that are cool, and second, that are useful.
What role did failure play in your success? Somewhere along the way, you must have failed.
Definitely. I think I don't call them failures. I think there are successes and then you have learning experiences. So I've been at, as I said, 10 companies. 8 of them have been acquired. All of them pretty much had a successful exit. 2 did not. But that doesn't mean necessarily that those were bad moves or that did not work out. More than anything, it was a learning experience. So the things that you learn when everything is working, everything is going as per the plan, the learning is not as important and as crucial as when you learn when it did not work. And I think all along in the history, the new inventions kept on happening when things did not.
Varun, can you give us a glimpse of the human behind the startup success? Who are you? And maybe something about your personal philosophy.
I think I showed you in my opening slide. Before anything else, before an IITian, before an entrepreneur, before a startup guy, I'm a father. So that's who I am. I love spending time with my 5.5-year-old daughter. And I think that also speaks a lot about my professional journey. I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe in life-work balance. Life comes first, work comes second. So I think that is very important because I don't think on our deathbed anyone would remember the PowerPoint slides that we created. So it's very important as a human to remember that part. The balance is most important. Other than that, I think team, when I talk about team, I'm not sure I idealize with Elon Musk and Steve Jobs as much as I idealize with some of the other entrepreneurs. Reason being, it's important to have a happy team. It's important to have a happy company. It's okay if someone makes $1 million or $2 million less, but if they're miserable along the way, so that they're making those extra $1 million or $2 million, I don't think it's worth it. So I think it's very, very important to create a happy culture in the team. And the third thing I would say is, I'm sure some of you have read the book. The way I read it is the acronym that I use is MAP. Every team, every startup, every company should be able to provide these 3 things to their employees. M is for mastery. So you should always give them something that they'll actually get better at and become the best at. A is the autonomy. Once you hire the right person, once you bring the right person on the bus, do not be driving the bus for that direction, for that particular thing. Because if you knew anything better, you would not have hired that person. So give them the complete autonomy once you have brought the right person. And the third is the purpose. It should be a big purpose. I think one thing that differentiated me and helped me over and over again was not running away from the fire, but running towards the fire. Multiple times in my career, I've been acquired, and every time you get acquired, there will be pockets of opportunity that will be created. There will be people who will be leaving. There will be teams who would probably need a leader. So in every case, instead of shying away from the problem, I just kept on raising my hand. I'm here to help. If there's anything that's broken, happy to help. Apply my skill set, apply my analytical knowledge to it. And that, I think, is something that has differentiated me and my career on the startup side.
Any parting words as a mentor? Any piece of advice you can give to your audience?
I think for entrepreneurs, one advice I would have is when you're creating or joining a startup, look at, are you joining something that is a feature or a product or a company? So I think that would be one advice, because not everything can be a company. Some of these things are smaller features or products. They can be a good tuck-in acquisition. But if in your mind you're trying to do a big thing, make sure there is a big thing there that you're trying to solve. And the other thing I would say is a platform change happens every few years. There were appliances, then there were virtual machines, then there were cloud, then there was containers. All of us have seen it in the last 20 years. All of this has changed. An interface change happens once in a lifetime. And interface change, I'll tell you, been talking about my daughter. The other day, she gets into the car and says, hey Siri, lower the windows. So that is an interface change that is probably going to happen. You put a keyboard in the room, only one person or one kid uses it. You put a voice-enabled device in the room, 10 kids will use it. So that is an interface change. In the last 100 years of computer history, we have only used one sense out of the 5 senses given to us to interact with computers. That is touch. This used to be typing, now it is swiping. But then there are 80% of the senses we haven't used. And I think if you're creating a startup, try to see if this is a few things. Is it an interface change or a platform change? And then look at, is it a feature or a product or a company? So I think those questions. And the last thing I would say is, I'm sure you guys have read the book, but is it really 10 times better than how people are doing it today? If there is no 10x improvement, it's not good enough. So I think I'll leave it at that advice.